Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and if you're new, I'm Danielle. Be sure to subscribe down below. So here we're going to have a quick transparency moment with me because I've been hit with a transparent moment I've been hit in a moment where it requires me to be transparent and really just acknowledge what it is. And I really feel like it's about me taking my power back because I've given so much things power. I've given things power that didn't have the rights to have such power over me, if that makes sense. And those things are basically anxiety and, the idea that I had to live up to some type of lifestyle for others, people pleasing, and social pressure. Like, I'm not going to give non-factors the power to control who I am and what it is that I do and how I feel and how I operate and things like that. Like, no more. So I tend to not like to label things because I feel like once you label it, it's just like sticking it to you. Like, okay, she labeled it, now it's a part of her. And so for so long, I've had like extreme like anxiety and like social pressure. Felt so much pressure to live up to the expectations of others and to be a people pleaser and to make sure that, like, if I'm gonna like be this person and like if I'm gonna be this person, or if I'm gonna like revisit certain things that I like had to like move on from or like graduate from and things like that, that like if I'm gonna return to them, I have to be perfect. Like, I have to be squeaky clean. I have to be like cross every T, dot every I. Like, I have to be, this perfect image because that's how they last saw me. So I want them to see me as that same image, if not better. And I even like had a meeting with one of my friends or whatever, and we were talking, and then he asked me a question. Like, he was like, like, you always seem, in our conversation, he was like, you always seem so unsure about what you're saying, like it's gonna be rejected, or like you seem like you have like anxiety. Like, he even asked me like if I was like an introvert or whatever. And for so long I used to say like, no, I'm not an introvert. Like, I like to be social, I like to be out there, I like to engage with people, I like to do all that stuff. But the truth was, because I had given all these non-factors my power, or to have power over me, I could no longer really confidently say like, yeah, I like to go out, I like to socialize, I like to be with people, because I gave those things so much of my power that I allowed it to scare me so much, and I allowed it to close me in. Like, I'm like, no, I just stay in my bubble. I don't like to go out to certain places because I feel like I'm gonna see people that I used to know, and I don't want to like engage with them because I don't want them to start asking me questions and want to know like, Danielle, what are you doing with your life? Where are you? What are you like? Those type of things, because I felt like if it wasn't sounding sweet in their ears, or if it didn't come across like, okay, Danielle's on her thing, like, Danielle, you see what Danielle's doing lately? Like, if it wasn't like that, then I should just stay in until it's like that, and then like have people like be like, oh, Danielle, what's up? What are you doing? Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Like, I felt like I was so ashamed of my journey because it had so many roadblocks in it, and it wasn't the typical journey that others take, or it's not similar to others. So it allowed me to be ashamed of it, and I'm like, oh no, I can't, what if I don't want to be out there, because if someone sees me and they ask me questions about certain things that I'm ashamed of, or I'm embarrassed to talk about, and I don't want to talk about, like, I don't want them to judge me. I want them to continue to see me as how they used to see me, as this person who was like social and bubbly and outgoing, and who had everything going for her. Like, I can't have them see me as someone who used to have everything going for her, who's now just, world is crumbling apart. Like, I can't do that. And that's where the social pressure came in. And then he was like, you always talk like, it's going to be rejected or whatever the case may be. And I was like, it's funny you say that, because for so long, like, I used to hold back who I am for people. I had to hold back who originally, like who the OG Danielle was, because I felt like if I was to be my 100% authentic self, it would not be accepted by others. And I think that's why I talked about in my season of isolation, which is one that I'm still kind of like, I feel like I'm exiting it. I'm rounding up. The season's rounding up. But what was I saying? I felt like I had to hold back who I am because I was always fearful that like it will be rejected. Like, oh, what? Like it wasn't gonna be perceived as cool, or like it was just so odd or whatever. And I was like, let me just, switch it up. Let me just, wear this mask. Let me just build this persona so I could fit in, and so I could be this people pleaser, so I could, not be that one that goes against the grain. Like, let me just follow the pack. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I'm not one. I'm not one that follows the pack. Like, whilst everybody's going forward, I'll be the only one going that way. And that's how it really has been. But because, like, I have put so much of a pressure on me to noting, y'all, you're going the wrong way. You need to be going that way whilst everybody else is going that way. Like, because I've been, like, I don't know, like, I've been trying to force myself to do what everybody else did. It took a toll on me. And after a while, like, I couldn't keep it up. I couldn't keep that lifestyle up. Like, I was trying, and I was just, behind the scenes, I was crumbling. I was seriously crumbling. And it was because it's like, fear of rejection. I didn't want them to, it was fear of rejection. And that's why when he said that, I was like, I just don't know how, like, if I'm not used to being 100% myself with certain people, because I never know how it's going to be perceived as. And I guess, fearful because I don't want it to be rejected. For who I am, I'd rather you accept me for what I'm not. But that's like hurting only me at the end of the day, because there's like a part in the Bible where it says, like, if you're basically, if you're living for man, you're doing yourself a disservice. And what I was doing a disservice for myself, because as I was trying so hard to live up to this lifestyle and be this people pleaser, I was stripping away my identity, and I was stripping away who I am and what it was I like to do, and what it was I wouldn't stand for and stuff like that. And so I just closed myself so far off. Like, I just closed myself so far off, because it was to the point where I was like, I can't keep this going anymore. Because honestly, I can't keep this going anymore, because not because I don't want to keep it going, but literally I just cannot. Like, if I could, I would, but everything is stacked saying that, like, you cannot keep this up anymore. Like, a perfect example was today, which gave me the whole realization, is I went back to my old high school and I had extreme anxiety. Like, I was like, I can't go. Like, what if I see somebody? What if I see one of my teachers? What if this? What if that? And I ran track, and I've been wanting to go back and to see my coaches and to, like, say, hey, see what everything is and stuff like that. But I was so fearful of the fact that, like, okay, well, they're gonna, like, question, like, what are you doing? If it's not the ideal response that most people would like to hear, I would feel like, that they'll judge me, or that, oh, that's what you're doing, type of thing. Like, they'll down it, and I didn't want that. And I'm like, I kept telling myself, like, no, I have to come back when I'm, like, good. Like, I'll be like, oh, what you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing. Like, I had to, like, come back with, like, such big accolades and such big accomplishments, so they know that I stayed that person who had everything going for herself, if not better, and I put so much pressure on myself to do that. And so I was in the high school, what's the point? I was in the high school, and I saw my coach or whatever, and he was just so happy to see me, and literally my heart wanted to literally, like, come out of my chest. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm here. I'm not, this person that I would like to be and how I would like to look, but I'm here. I'm, like, engaging. He see me. I'm no longer running from this ideal. I'm not running from this ideal picture that I've painted up for me to live by. I'm not, forcing myself or pressuring myself to be this person that I'm not. And I have to accept the fact that I'm not and take ownership in it, not be ashamed of it, and not be afraid if people will reject it or if people will be judging towards it. Like, it is what it is. And after our conversation, he was like, I'm so glad to see you. I want to see you more, blah, 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 blah. And as I was walking away, I was just like, whew, whew. And I was like, I was with my sister, and she was like, see, that wasn't so bad either. And I was like, no, it wasn't that bad. And the fact that it wasn't that bad, and I allowed like maybe 3 years to go by before I tackled this thing. And I'm like, wow, like, I could have done this a lot sooner. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I could tackle that one thing on, I could tackle on all the other things that I have given to have power over me, like anxiety of the people in my past. Like, when I say anxiety of the people in my past, like, when it's like winter break, summer break, that's when everybody comes back home, and that's when I'm just dodging people like left and right. Like, I do not want to see anybody because I hate the conversations of, what are you doing? Where are you? What are you up to? Like, I hate those update questions, you know what I'm saying? But like, people who you started your journey with, and because your journey took some roadblocks and your journey started to, go in the opposite direction, and your journey no longer consisted of keeping up with the lifestyle that you were not meant to live, basically. I lost what I was saying. Those people, I avoided them, and I like cut off friendships. I didn't want any ties to them. I didn't want any of that because of the fear of judgment, and because I felt ashamed of my journey, and at the fact that my journey was different from them. And then I'm just like, I was just like, DL, own up to it, like, own up to it. Like, why are you ashamed? Why are you so ashamed? What are you ashamed of? Living your life, and not the life that you created to live for the approval of others. And like, for so long I would run from those people because of the fear of judgment and the fear of them not accepting me for who I originally am, and who I've accepted myself to be, and stuff like that. And then I'm like, I'm not gonna allow those people and their judgments and all that other stuff to have power over me for no more. Like, no more. Some of them, they are judgmental people, and they really are just not like people I choose to socialize with. And some of them are actually cool people, but I'm just like, I just always felt like I had to have myself 100% together before I could go back out into the world. And then I'm realizing that I'm never going to have myself 100% together. Nobody's ever going to have their self 100% together. Like, and I had to accept that, like, I'm never going to be perfect. Like, I'm never going to be perfect. Life is not perfect. People aren't perfect. And the moment I decided to accept that, and the moment that I decided to accept my journey of life for what it is, that's when, things become much easier, and things become much more accepting. And, you realize that, okay, if you like it, cool. And if you don't, that, like, bye. Like, I no longer had to force myself to switch up and to change because, oh, you don't like it? Okay, what do I do? Da da da. And, I used to be a very toxic person, you know what I'm saying? And some people in my past probably remember me as a toxic person. And there's a quote saying basically like, you knew who I was, but you don't know who I am. And I have changed drastically. I have been pruned, like, but for so many years I tried to keep up this persona, and then it started to weigh down on me, and I couldn't. And then that's when, like, whenever I would think of people coming back and wondering what it was that I was up to, I would have anxiety because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not that person anymore, da 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 da, what do I do? Freaks out, oh my gosh. And no more, you know what I'm saying? Like, no more. No more. I could give another perfect example of a thing that I'm no longer going to allow to have my power. Is my journey with school has been a roller coaster. I strongly dislike talking about school because my journey with my education is not similar to others, and I just had to take a different route from others, right? And for so long, like, because I would have to do like things that, you know, weren't, now they're common, but back then weren't common, like taking a semester off, taking a year off, transferring, maybe going to a community college for a little bit and then going back to a 4-year, you know, paying for school out of pocket, you know, things like that, you know. That was my route, but that wasn't the route for so many others. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I can't have people know that I took a semester off. I have to like figure something out, or I have to graduate with everybody else. Like, I put so much pressure on myself at the fact that I was like, I have to graduate at the same time as everybody else. I have to graduate at the same time as everywhere else. I'm taking loads and loads and loads of classes, man. At the same time, like, challenge after challenge after challenge just kept coming. If it's not that I got into a car accident right when finals happened, which pushed me all the way back, or if it's not the fact that like I literally like failed so many classes, or if it wasn't the fact that I was going through such emotional, I won't call it stress, I feel like it was more so emotional depression, and you know, that took a toll on me, and I had so many things setting me back, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to live up to this expectation and this lifestyle. Like, okay, I'm Danielle and I'm smart and I'm in school and I have to graduate with everybody. I had all that pressure on me trying to live that lifestyle, right? And I'll probably talk about it later, I don't know. I was like, I can't have them know that I haven't graduated or I'm not on the way to graduating. They not even graduating either, you know what I'm saying? Me taking like a million classes at once just so I could just be like, yeah, I'm about to graduate, yeah, I'm graduated, da 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 da. Are you graduating? And it's not even on a comparison thing, but it's like I did all that. The light's probably changing. I did all that work and I pressured myself and I beat myself and I was so hard on myself because I was like, I have to live up to this expectation. Like, I have to, you know, live up to this expectation that I'm going to graduate along my peers. But are they even my peers if they don't even, like, they didn't even know who I was originally? Are they my peers at the fact that like they were so judgmental? Were they my peers at the fact that they really never accepted me for who I really was and who I really am? You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, trying to live up to all that and all that pressure, and then come to find out that thing that you just kept giving you your power, and you were bigging it up and you were bigging it up and you made it this big monster, and then you finally actually was like, you know, let me flick the light on, and then you're like, oh, you're the big monster, you're the big thing, that you're that thing that I gave so much power to. I could flick you. Like, that's how it is, you know. You give these things so much power and you big them up, and the moment you actually face them, you're like, what? Like, you're a fly. I can like swat you away. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm taking back my power. I'm taking back my power before this year is over, okay? We are, what's today? Today is the 21st of December, okay? And I'm not giving them little flies that I've given so much power and they allow them to big up themselves. No, like, I'm taking my power back, and I'm, you know, owning my place in this world. I'm owning and accepting, no longer being ashamed of who I am, and accepting that, you know, either you're with it or you're not, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? And I allowed it to put me in a box, and I allowed it to like make me afraid to go outside, because I was like, what if someone sees me? What if I'm not perfect? What if this? What if that? And it's like, I'm breaking out of that box, I'm popping that bubble, I'm opening the door, I'm going outside, and I'm taking my power back, you know? I'm not going to allow these things to scare me. I'm not going to allow these things to continue to put me in a box that I do not belong in. Like, and I've also, within the years that I've been isolated or whateve, I've learned to accept myself for who I am, all of me, completely. And it's like, this is me, this is what you get, And you're more than welcome to like me, but if you don't, like, that's cool. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not living for you, so this is awkward. You can, you know, exit stage left. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's just my truth moment, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, okay? I'm not perfect. I do not dot every I. I do not cross every T, and that is okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not perfect, and I don't have to live up to society standards. It's okay to go against the grain. It's okay to say no when everybody's saying yes. It's okay to, you know, be on a different route because everybody is not going the same way. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.